And breaking news out of Tucson, Arizona, where the urgent search for Savannah Guthrie's mom is now in its fifth day. FBI agents assisting in the search say they're investigating whether ransom notes emailed to the media are legitimate. Meantime, officials today shared new details on Nancy Guthrie's still unexplained disappearance and offered a reward for information. NBC4 investigative reporter Eric Leonard has been following these developments all week. He's live in the newsroom with an update. Eric, investigators spoke to the media for nearly an hour. What stood out to you today?
Well, a number of things. First of all, they've provided much more specific information about Guthrie's apparent abduction and say nobody has been ruled out as a potential suspect at this point. The FBI says 2 local news outlets in Arizona received similar ransom messages demanding a Bitcoin payment by a deadline of this afternoon, but officials also say there's been no way to communicate back with the message sender and no way to prove that these notes are legitimate.
The ransom note that was distributed to the media did make a demand for 5 p.m. today, and if a transfer wasn't made, then I think a second demand was for next Monday. I think it's pretty clear the family wants to be contacted. They know time is of the essence, and if those that may have Nancy are watching this, the family is ready to talk.
The FBI says agents are proceeding as if those ransom messages emailed to the TV stations are from someone who is truly holding 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie against her will, even though there's been no proof she's being held and is okay and no follow-up messages. The ransom notes are part of the reason that Savannah Guthrie and her family posted a social media video last night to appeal for Nancy Guthrie's release and to try to open a line of communication if she truly is the victim of an abduction. Also new, the Sheriff's Department says it's pieced together a much more detailed timeline that suggests Guthrie left her home in the middle of the night, that her doorbell camera disconnected at 1:47 a.m. Another camera's software detected movement at 2:12 a.m. and her pacemaker monitoring application disconnected at 2:28 a.m. Officials say the cameras at her house did not send video to local or cloud storage, so there's no way to see what happened. A DNA profile from blood found outside the front door of her home only matched to Nancy Guthrie, although there's some testing on other items that's still in progress. FBI agents and sheriff's detectives have been checking out a whole bunch of other leads, interviewing a rideshare driver who dropped Nancy Guthrie at her daughter's house Saturday night, checking on hospitals and pharmacies, and canvassing the neighborhood for security video and other clues. The sheriff and the FBI say as of today, 5 days into the investigation, no one has been identified as a suspect. No one has been ruled out. The sheriff says, in fact, it's still possible there was no abduction and Guthrie's disappearance is something else entirely, saying investigators are working every lead, but also keeping an open mind. Lastly, the FBI has announced a $50,000 reward for information that leads to Guthrie or the arrest of the person responsible. Back to you in the studio.
Eric, what do we know about a Southern California man who was arrested today in connection to this case?
Yeah, that's one of the peculiar sidebars to all of this. The FBI said it's looking at a number of possible ransom notes. Some of them are being taken seriously. You heard the agent talking about that. But one of them has been determined to be a complete hoax. And today, federal prosecutors in Arizona filed criminal charges against a man from Southern California who they say tried to send and extract a ransom payment from the Guthrie family earlier this week. They have a copy of the purported email. They say they traced his IP address and internet address to this person in Southern California. He's been taken into custody, and we expect to see him in court tomorrow.
All right. Eric, thank you so much for your update.
You got it.
Appreciate it. And you can listen to more of today's press conference on our website, NBCLA.com. Click through a timeline of events and watch Savannah Guthrie's emotional plea she posted on Instagram. Still ahead here at 3:30, NBC Nightly News will have a breaking live update from Tucson, followed by the NBC4 News at 4.